start to cancel the Zoom.
I have something here. Don't have Zoom client installed. Is that a
Oh.
separate thing that I should now have that I didn't need before?
No,
Just an app.
Says having issues with Zoom client. Let's try this launching meeting again.
Okay.
anytime, can I just
Says
ask?
join new meeting. You will have to leave this meeting to join the new meeting. All right, I'll leave and join.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Commissioner Parkins is gonna ask a couple questions, so
Okay.
you keep working on it.
The studio units that are in the center where the foyer is, do they have windows?
Just a sec, let me go.
Is that on ground floor?
On all.
On all the floors?
Not really
No, just the ground floor. I think she's asking about.
Isn't that a window?
That's why I'm asking.
Isn't that the symbol for a window right there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, there are windows in this studio here. Let me zoom in, you can see them. There's a window here and a window here, window here in these studios. Yeah, and then there's a couple windows, you know, along this side, kitchen, bathroom, that are more decorative than anything, that are underneath this covered portion of the building where there's parking.
So it's that like that little gray bar? That's a window.
Yes. And there's a window, there's two windows in the one studio of 700, and there's one window in the studio of 662.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You want?
Can I want to ask, all right, so the number of bedrooms, is it? I know the number of units went down, but the number of bedrooms, did that kind of stay the same? To what it was?
We only. But I mean, the number of bedrooms is a less because we're at 37 versus the 43. We only went for 1 2-bedroom. So studio's a bedroom essentially, you know.
Yeah,
So we,
All right,
you know,
so
you're
the
removing
36
you're removing
seven.
6 and you've added 1, so you've removed 5.
decrease the.
Yeah, here's the chart
Studios.
on A101, gives the apartment distribution. Instead of 14, you're now at 11 studios. 1 bedroom went from, stayed the same at 25, I believe, if I'm reading it
Right.
right.
Correct.
And 2 bedrooms, you went up by 1. So you have 37 bedrooms, correct?
There, yes, and there are more 1-bedrooms in this version and less studios, and that's, you know, how we're coming down with the number of units.
Madam Chair, that would be 37 apartments, 38 bedrooms.
30, yes,
Right,
37
correct,
homes, 38 bedrooms. Thank you, Commissioner Lascos. Yeah, on that chart that I have, A101 dated November 28th, which is not the most recent, it gave a total of 39 number of bedrooms. Okay, how's Mr. Panico doing?
Not back.
Is he in the waiting room?
Yeah.
Okay. We're elevating you, Mr. Panico.
I'm hearing you, that's what you're saying,
Yeah. I see his name. Now he's, looks like a start video. Okay. There you are.
There he is.
Mr. Panico, we can see you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I
Can you
don't
see
see you yet, but I can, well, I see you in the side. Okay.
Okay. Can you see the screen with the diagram?
The what?
There's a
The floor-
yeah, floor plan is up on the screen. Can you see that?
Yes, I'm looking at the floor plan.
Okay,
Great.
I was wondering if I could see a floor plan that shows both the studio and the 1-bedroom, just to look at the comparison.
okay.
Yeah, Mr. Rose is gonna bring that up for you.
Okay, I see it.
Here's a 1-bedroom and a studio next to each other,
Right.
Tony. 500 square foot for
Right.
the studio, 502 and 785 for the one bedroom.
Okay. So what you're saying, it's equivalent to a one bedroom, but it's actually not a separate bedroom,
Not a separate bedroom, yeah, it's
right?
shared living bedroom space.
Mhm. Okay,
So I'm pretty much set, Madam Chairman. I don't know if there's any other questions I'd be happy to answer.
On, the A102 that I have, first floor plan, along the top, you have, hopefully it's the same, a one bedroom of 605, a one bedroom of 788.
Yep.
Studio of 502.
Yep.
And a one bedroom of 907.
Right.
I see your doorways in most places, but in the studio for 502,
Yes,
where's the little angled doorway for the bathroom? I see one for the closet.
it's a barn door for the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Okay, like a pocket door, but.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
pocket door, correct.
Thank
Save
you.
some
Okay.
ground floors, save some space.
Ah, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
I only bring it up because there was someone else that had presented something last year or so, and there were no doors in certain spots. We were wondering how they were gonna get into the next
European
room.
style.
Pat, how are you dealing with the handicap unit or units?
Yeah, there'll be multiple accessible units. You'll have 10%, so it'll be 4. There will be more one bedrooms than studios that'll be accessible. What happens is the bathroom gets slightly larger in order to accomplish that. And get the radius, that's not a radius that you require anymore. It's only a certain space in the bathroom to move the wheelchair.
Okay,
How many of those are being planned?
I haven't shown any of them yet because we haven't gotten there, but it's something that we do all the time where we design the bathroom such that we just need to enlarge it in one direction in order for us to get the space that we require by code.
Are you doing that prior to the lease being signed, or? I mean.
No, we have to do that when we do
construction?
construction drawings. It's just,
Yeah.
these are preliminary.
Okay. All right, so they'll be indicated on the construction drawing, but not on the
Yes.
initial concept.
Right.
how many are you obligated to provide, Pat?
10%.
10%
So
of
it's
your
before.
units?
So you have 4.
Mhm.
Okay, any commissioners here in the city hall remotely have any questions for Mr. Rose?
Could we look at the ground floor plan again?
Sure.
What do you call it, housing?
The 4 volume.
Yeah. Could you talk about that?
Is there any kind of
We did.
side wall enclosure on those parking spaces or not?
No, there's not. There's a column here and the walls here, so there's no sidewall blocking that. There
Mhm.
certainly is room to do that if somebody would want to do that.
Okay,
What's your concern about that, Mr. Panico? What do you mean it's on a sidewall? It's open or it's
well, I
right now?
didn't know from Pat, how difficult would it be for you to provide us with a perspective of some sort of rendering of that corner or something so that the commission thoroughly understands how those elements come together?
Yeah, we certainly could provide a rendering for you to take a look at.
Is there something on one of the elevations that would show that right now?
Yeah, it does.
Well, it's hard to read on the elevations. That's
Yeah, I know,
why.
it's not as easy because this is the column that's there,
Right,
and this is where the cars sit in here. Sidewalk is here.
Yeah.
That's the stairway you see behind.
correct.
Mhm.
So your car is parked in here, you will see the car. sitting in that parking space.
I would, that's my personal opinion, a low wall. might
Even
be
a low
worth
wall
it.
might be better than completely enclosing it, because then that becomes a real,
Yeah, you don't want to get a
Tight
ventilation
space.
problem.
right, and you don't want to, it's just psychological when you pull into something, it's, walls on both sides of you.
Does the
A low
commission have
wall could
any
be provided.
opinion?
Yeah, a low wall could be provided, that's certainly not a problem.
I'm not sure where he's referencing, what is he referencing?
Here on the ground floor? That area, so it's A101. Okay, Commissioner Alaskos, Commissioner Tiki, you're participating remotely. Have any questions?
This is Commissioner Tiki. I actually don't have any questions on this. It looks good. And I like the treatment of the building.
Very good.
I don't have any questions either.
Okay, very good.
I was-
Commissioner
we talk
Amato
about-
had
yeah,
something.
Did we talk about affordable units in the past? Is that brought up?
Must have been.
Yeah, we discussed 10% affordable
Yeah.
units.
The same.
So now it would be four
Four
units,
units.
Oh,
four
okay.
units at 80%.
Thank
Mhm.
you. Okay.
All right, is there any other commissioner has any questions? Mr. Panico, do you have any further questions for the applicant?
Yeah, just a couple of relatively minor comments. Could we swing, while we're talking about that garage area, could you just jump to the landscape plan?
Sure.
Okay, if you do get a wall where we just talked about, perhaps that piece of walkway could be moved away from that low wall that would allow you to put some plantings in there.
Right. You could move the sidewalk and trade some plantings against the wall. Yeah.
Correct. Can we
It's
do
easy
that?
to do. Yeah, that's easy to do. That's
Okay,
simple.
now, while we're on the same picture, on the entry lane coming in off the Sunwood Drive, that's a very skinny dividing island between the last parking space and that lane. Could that driveway just be shifted another couple of feet to fatten that up a little bit? Right now, you propose no plantings in there, and I can understand that because there's no room.
Right.
Could that driveway just slide over a couple, 3 feet?
Yeah, I think it probably could, Tony.
Okay.
Could you point out
Let me
again where that
let me
is?
just go to the site plan for 1 second, Tony. This here is the opening for the driveway. So we'd have to shift it to the left a little bit to fatten this island up.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
It could be, I think it could be done and could be worked out. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there should be a minimum amount of cross traffic there. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect somebody driving across the street to see somebody in the other condo complex, in the other apartment complex. Okay, can we go up to that upper level parking area in the back?
Yeah.
Can you bring it on a topo map?
Oh, sure. So
Okay,
This is the
your
topo.
cross section, the cross section that you drew where you said you can make the grade change with grading. Here,
Elevation.
you'd have to grade right up to your property line, which means you got to destroy all the natural vegetation that's in there, right?
correct, that's what's
Could we
shown.
compromise and get some kind of a very low wall in that area where your fence is?
Yeah, you could create a
To minimize
wall.
that, to minimize
Yeah,
that
you-
grading?
Right, you may be able to put a 4-foot wall with the
Yeah,
fence on
something
top of
like
it.
that, 3 foot, 4 foot, and cut
Yeah.
out, save
Sure.
some of that slope grading. And
Sure.
also, while we're talking about this, one of my main reservations is I don't particularly like the buried spaces. I don't think they give you, well, they might help if you really had a bad problem, but you only have 1 2-bedroom unit, and it turns out to be a reasonably generous parking ratio now. Perhaps we could consider grading that area and then restore the surface with grass or grass block or something until such time as they're needed. And in the meantime, you could use it as an adjunct to your recreational spot there. Does that make any sense?
You talk about the tandem parking spaces?
Right, correct.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you're
mean,
almost at 2 spaces per unit
yeah.
without those spaces.
Right. There's
Yeah,
six.
I mean, certainly if the commission feels comfortable with it, it might, but we're trying to comply with the parking reg.
Oh, I
so-
understand, and that's why I think for
Yeah.
purposes of the commission's action, they can just simply request that you delay the installation of those spaces and treat the ground differently. Prepare it, in other words, so that if you had to have them, you could just go in and pave them.
Talking about the. back-
Reserve space.
Yeah, these are the
Above.
Is that
tandems.
something the commission might be interested in?
I don't see why not. That could be visitor parking on the blocks, on those grass blocks.
Mhm.
Oh, it wouldn't work there, actually.
That is-
If they're tandem spaces, then they
Yeah,
have to be,
Or somebody who has the same
Sorry.
apartment.
It just means you have to try to find 11 apartments that needed 2 spaces and get them to accept tandem spaces. And
I have, and then I have another question that came up when you were talking down below. If you eliminate the sidewalk next to the low wall, are you just gonna move the sidewalk to the other side of the landscaping? Because I'm trying to figure out how the people who park in the lower parking lot are gonna get to the front door if you eliminate that
Oh, no,
sidewalk.
no, we're not talking about touching that. We're talking
This-
about just that little piece of walk
Go here.
in there, just move that
Right.
away from the
Right.
low wall.
How are the people in the lower parking lot would have to then walk through the underground, the covered
I see
parking to
what
get
you're
to a
saying.
walkway to get to the front door? Now, I just
I-
want everybody to understand that, right?
I thought, Mr. Panico, you were talking about just move that sidewalk further closer to Sunwood Drive. And
Yeah,
that's just,
just by a couple of feet, that's all.
yeah,
Oh,
You
move the
still
sidewalk
have
and
this
then,
sidewalk. That's still there. That's
The
just moved
same,
down.
the same sidewalk linkage you have now, you would still have.
it's just gonna be away from the
away
building,
from the building.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
okay,
And as far as if the people are, if somebody is assigned a space in the lower lot and they live on the 3rd floor, they're gonna have to understand you go in at the lower level, take the elevator up to your unit.
but, yeah,
So it really, I don't think it really matters a lot whether you park in the lower level or the upper level, because you have elevator access.
Yeah, there's 31 total spaces in the upper lot. So. Okay, anything else, Mr. Panico?
Those are the only ones that come right off the top of my head. I did take a quick look at it, but we've been beating this site plan up pretty bad.
Yeah.
And it seemed I think everything is working out fine. I'm gonna want to see on the detail sheet, and I'll get all of these comments put together for you. But I did not see any notation on the curbing that it would be concrete curbing, and that's what we've been staying away from bituminous and going to the extruded concrete. Your detail right now shows it as bituminous concrete. That's not going to be acceptable.
Okay,
I did not see a detail of the dumpster enclosure. I only noticed that it says fenced enclosure, and that's not acceptable. So we need to see a detail of the dumpster enclosure, and it should be something that matches the building, not fencing. It should be gated in the front so that you don't see the dumpsters, and it should have a pedestrian gateway into it as well.
Right.
Okay.
yeah, we've got room for the sidewalk to do that, so that'll work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But as
Anything else?
usual, I don't get into a detailed review of all the nuts and bolts until the commission makes a decision. So, but those are the ones that caught me right off the top.
Very good. So if there isn't any further questions, we can, Commissioner Parkins.
I have a question. Attorney Thomas, when we were talking about the affordable units, you made a reference to 4 units at 80%. We've not gone down the percentage. Is that the current regulation? I thought it was higher with the more units, not,
I mean, the 80% part.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall us
Would you,
ever,
comment on that, please, because we've not heard that reference before, and we want to make sure we're not.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear basically, on the PDDs, you've been asking for 10%. I know you've been discussing other things and the other proposals have been, that you've gone through have been 10% at 80% AMI.
we haven't.
We have
don't
never
recall.
referenced an AMI, so I just want to make sure that what you are citing is the current state regulation.
It's
I
not
thought-
for voluntary set-asides. If somebody were doing a 8-30G, and under 8-30G, it obviously provides for voluntary set-asides where the commission could, the commission and developer in this situation agree upon 10%. In an 8-30G, it's you have 30%, 15 of that is at 80% AMI, 15% is at 60% AMI. Okay, and that's the way under 8-30G. For voluntary set-asides, it's my understanding, the ones that you've already done, that they are at 80% AMI. And I recall that was the discussion, for example, when we did Riverview Royal, that the 10% is at 80% AMI. And so that's the only reason I use that phrase.
We have never, this commission has never designated an AMI.
No, I don't recall that at all.
But don't they have to follow whatever the
Well, that's
regulation is?
That's why.
That's what I'm asking. I want to make
Yeah.
sure we're not agreeing to something or approving something that's
It's
not.
no,
Well,
yeah.
Yes, all we've
Between-
ever stipulated is the
regulation-
number of units
what
and it has to match the range of units that are available. It has to be satisfy state statute so that we
Yeah,
credit
but-
as affordable units.
If you're talking about whether or not you get points or countable, yes, you get points at 80% AMI. Those are the numbers. That's the number. In 8-30G, there's 80% AMI, 60% AMI. Then you get into certain lower numbers, especially for lower income subsidy housing and stuff of that nature.
And it's based on the percentage that you're setting aside. Those AMIs are based on the percentage you're setting aside. So the higher percentage you set aside, the higher the income can be.
Correct. At 80% AMI, area median income, you have the
That's-
computation, you're doing 80% area median income, which would have a slightly higher income. Yes. But
Okay.
I believe all your other.
I don't think we need to do this.
I was gonna say between,
I
there's
just want to make sure that we're not agreeing to something
Yeah.
that's not the current
Right.
regulation.
we're a good couple weeks away from a resolution being
Whatever the regulation.
formulated and prepared by staff. So between now and then, staff and the applicant can have a discussion and clarify exactly.
Okay, sure, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'd like to move on to the public portion. Because there was new material posted to the city's website after the public hearing continued on December 10th. And we've, in the past, always allowed members of the public to comment on just the new material. So, is there anyone, Ruth, can you reach for 2214? Anyone here present that signed up to speak? Okay, no one. Okay, Ms. Castro, is there anyone from participating remotely? No. Okay, I will ask, is there anyone here in the audience that would like to comment on 2214? And last call for anyone participating remotely, if you'd like to participate and comment, you need to use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9 on your phone. Okay. All right, so public portion, then we move on from, and seeing that there's been new material. We do not have a full commission tonight with Commissioner Kelly being present. I'd like to recommend that we continue the public hearing.
I
don't know.
Well,
Is
I'll bring it
there,
out.
I'm just gonna, is there a real need to continue? This has been 6 months of public hearings, and I'm sure Commissioner Kelly and whoever's not here can review what we submitted, which
Well,
has
I'm
been
giving the
vented.
commission the option.
Okay,
That is my recommendation, but if the commission feels otherwise, I'm more than happy to go along with them. So, with the new material being, posted to the website, once we close the public hearing, as you know, Attorney Thomas, the commission would have to go through staff to have any questions answered.
correct. Yeah, we understand that.
Okay. All right, so is there a motion from the commission to either continue or close the public hearing for application 2214?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, Commissioner Amato has made a motion to close. Is there a second?
Commissioner Ticky will second.
Okay, thank you. So on the motion to close the public hearing made by Commissioner Amato and seconded by Commissioner Ticky, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. And we'll do a roll call. Commissioner Amato?
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky?
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos?
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion is passed 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So this item will be on the agenda of an upcoming meeting first for just discussion. All right, moving along, the next agenda item is continuation of public hearing for application 2217, Dominic Thomas for Landcakeys Landing LLC at 1055 Bridgeport Avenue. Assessors map 2, lot 8 on 1.7 acres for initial development plan approval for 62 apartments with 77 initial on-site parking spaces and 16 deferred and installed as needed. This public hearing for this application opened September 21st. And at the continuation of the public hearing on November 16th, the commission reviewed a revised site plan and the public hearing was continued. Ms. Castro, any other reports, materials, or correspondence received since November 16th within the time frame?
There are several items that have been uploaded online, architectural floor plan and elevation packet, the January 10th, 2023, city engineer review, resident letter from January, another resident letter from December, a rendering packet from January 9th, 23, an additional resident letter, revised apartment building layout dated January 2nd, 23, and the letter that has not been uploaded online was received today.
Okay. All the material that has been uploaded on this is a Google.
This has been uploaded to the regular city website. Through
What is here? Okay. All right, so I will acknowledge that for the record in a little bit. So the applicant is present, and why don't you identify yourself for the record? And please advise all about those changes that Ms. Castro just referenced.
Attorney Dominic Thomas representing the applicant. The applicant is present in person along with the engineer, Alan Shepard, and also Pat Rose. I'm assuming we were under the impression, and we've been provided with some copies of the letters from the neighbors in support of this application. And we asked them to be obviously made part of the record. With respect to there's been, again, listening to the comments and addressing all the comments, there's been a reduction in the number of units from 62 to 52. And you will see the site plan. At this point, I can screen share so Alan can comment on it. Can I? Yes, I think, okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, and with that, I will turn it over to Alan Shepherd to comment on the changes and the screen share. And Alan, just direct me as to what you want me to do.
Sure. At the last meeting, we had Alan Shepherd, for the record, professional engineer and partner in NLK 415 Howe Avenue. So for the last meeting, we had talked about reducing the size of the building, getting it under the height restriction, setbacks from Huntington Street and Bridgeport Street, improving those. So we did that. We now have a 60-foot setback from Huntington Street and a 50-foot setback from Bridgeport Avenue. We added a little bit more green space on Huntington Street.
What's the setback from Bridgeport? 50?
50 feet.
Okay.
And the 50-foot setback from Bridgeport is set back, there's a strip there that the town owns that's excessive. So, it's how you count that, but it's 50 from the current street line, which is good. So we squished that down, and then we thought about, some recreational space. So we did that as you come into the driveway on the northerly side, northeast side. We put a recreational space in there that will be developed out more fully if we get going, we get approvals. And so, what we were kind of thinking about is like, I was trying to put, say a certain amount of open space per unit. So of that, I was kind of thinking along the lines like, you should have at least one parking space per space for active recreational, and one parking space per just green space buffer space. So that's what we came out with, it kind of equates to, 180 square feet or 150 square feet per unit, somewhere in that range, So then in for active, and the same for just passive.
How do you define this active and passive?
Okay, yeah, let me explain this, because
What?
yeah, and it's good, because
I know it's late
it's
in
kind
the
of a
day,
new,
but-
it's a new idea, right? It's a, many of my clients and John and I have been talking about, well, how, what, yeah, how much do we need, what we should do for, I believe we should have some outdoor space for people, right? So
Right.
now we have a lot of people, in apartments and whatever. And there's a difference between downtown, because you've got coffee shops and restaurants and stuff like that. So now when we have a project like this, it's kind of a standalone thing. What's a fair open space, we should designate something. So I was coming out to, well, if you have at least a parking space size, 180 square feet, whatever you want to call it, right?
Per unit, is that, that's.
Per unit,
That's the relevant,
That's the relevance.
relating it to.
Yeah. So, how much people need somewhere to sit outside and put a picnic table or whatever, but I'm kind of thinking, I think a lot of towns are struggling with this, so it's not just us,
Coming up with a standard.
yeah, come up with some sort of standard outside space per unit.
So
we kind
you're attempting to set aside 150 to 180 square feet per unit.
of active recreation,
What's active to you?
sitting area, cornhole space,
Bocce.
fire pit,
Yeah.
all
Now,
that
what's
kind of
passive?
stuff. What?
What's passive?
It's just a buffer around the parking lot, the green space. around the parking lot.
Okay, got it. All right.
We're not paving,
Mhm.
the dog walk area and, no, but that's what we're playing around with, right? So this is the kind of things that we're gonna put that green space in there and I kind of separated it over to put it in one spot, on that side of the driveway. So people have one spot to go to. And how we divvy that up is, we're gonna get into it a little bit more if we get approvals. We want some outdoor space for people to leave go to. And that's a new concept, kind of like I'm just throwing it out here for the board to think about, but that's kind of what we heard you guys,
Well, the one thing that's nice is it's not like a courtyard in the center.
Mhm.
Because those kind of activities can be really annoying to the people that live there, are trying to enjoy a balcony.
Yes, so that's exactly what we were heading towards, and we want to make this livable. In other words, we want Johnny to rent these units out. And we want people to have a good life when they're there and have it livable and not have a big turnover. So that was what we're going for with that. And that allows us to, have a little bit more green space. We modified the building to have a little bit more green space around, which is shown by the color.
All right,
colors.
so what specifically has changed with the footprint moved of the,
From the last time, the footprint moved, we made it smaller.
all right, so we have a smaller
Building
footprint
smaller,
because of the reduction in units,
yeah.
okay?
And we had parking underneath or canopy, parking underneath. We took that out to lower the building down. So we lowered the building
okay.
down. So the pedestal parking is gone. And that keeps the cost down in the building too for the applicant. So it's really kind of trade-off there. And that makes the elevations go down to the existing grades there. So if you look at my plan with the existing grades, it's pretty matches what we got out there. There's not a lot of grading out here. Not a lot of complexities here with the site grading. We're just matching what's there.
Is parking layout outside changed?
We changed the parking layout a little bit. We still have the required parking. So we still have the required parking.
Yeah.
All conforms
Mhm.
to the parking layout. And we also added some sample landscaping. We talked to some different people with landscaping stuff, picked out some trees that we would do in the green space in the front. And
Mhm.
basically what we're trying to do is cover the building, break up the building, but not cover it totally. So we picked out some trees that would be, we'll do a more detailed landscaping plan, but we just want to go over. So when you drive by, we have some evergreen trees that break it up from, I think we picked up some maple trees just to give it a little, diversity. And,
Okay, the rear driveway is not there, but.
Took
you have
out the rear
emergency
driveway.
access- Emergency
Nope.
access,
we talked to fire marshal, did not want it,
okay,
did not put it in. We just-
Interesting.
Yeah, so we went to that. So we really worked on getting the plan to something that's responded to your comments.
okay.
Vicky, how will deliveries work, like Amazon trucks? Where will they go?
We have,
You have a package room?
if you see coming in off the main driveway, there's a little opening to the back there. That's where the drop offs would go. There's a doorway there. And that little island would be just painted and not raised
Point down.
Where the trash doors?
with trash.
Oh, okay.
Can I just make a comment for the record?
Sure, identify yourself.
John Paoletti, Grace Lane Builders.
Mhm.
I'm the owner of the property, hopefully future developer. Good evening. That area that Al's references, that's just trash. In the front of the building, Pat Rose is here also.
Okay.
We have Pat on, the front of the building, there's two entrances, one in the front, but this is the back of the building. The back of the building, Pat can show you on the plan, there's a package room there.
Okay, so
So that's where they would deliver the packages to?
Sure, right.
The-
Yeah, there's,
Yes,
yeah,
or
right
whatever.
through the back door, there's a double back door, kind of replicates the front door, and there's a package room right in the lobby when you come in.
And those deliveries get noticed on their.
Yeah.
Phone, so they know something's there. Them to pick up.
Can the delivery folks access that through the front of the building?
They
They're
can,
gonna-
yeah, there's
they're
double
gonna
doors.
take The path of least resistance and fastest way to get park.
Yeah, Dominic, if you want to share the first floor plan, Pat can elaborate on that a little bit more.
Okay, hold on one second.
There you go. Back.
You
So
mark-
what you do have there are two entrances, front and back, on this building, such that on the one entrance,
Whoops.
you've got as you come in, you have mail, the elevator, and then on the other entrance, you have a leasing office and a package room.
Mhm.
So, all of the things that happen that you need to have happen in this core of the center of the building.
Mhm.
That's a leasing.
Has each level, especially the ground floor, first floor, is that layout changed from previous ones? Where you have workspace, office, that kind of stuff? Or is that pretty much the same as what was originally designed?
No, there's more common space in this layout than the previous one because we had parking, on the lower level. So that took away a significant amount of area for where we could have common space.
All right, so you've done quite a bit of massaging here.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
We've actually shortened the length of the building 24 feet.
Right.
And dropped it in elevation probably about 8 feet. And I think at the highest point, if on a cross section, we were probably 57 feet, maybe something like that. We're under the 60 feet now.
Yeah, you said you dropped it about 8 feet?
We did, yeah, we could, I can show a cross section of that as well. Dominic can share that if you want to see that.
Okay.
That package room that you mentioned, does that mean there will be no deliveries to the doorways of the units, so to speak? So if a tenant orders something to be delivered, it would be delivered to the package room. Is that it?
Correct. They're not leaving in the corridor. Correct.
Okay.
Is that the mail also going there, or how does?
There's mail room on the
There's a
other
separate
side.
room,
So
okay.
if a package
Yep.
comes and they can't put it in the thing, they'll just
Yep,
leave it. in
so you have
front
a
of the
mail
mailbox.
wall.
They'll just leave it in front of the mailbox.
Yeah, I would imagine that there would be some kind of security to get upstairs that you can't unless you have a fob or something to get up to an upper level.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some type of security.
So a delivery man can't, or a tenant can't assume, oh, I'll let you up, you can come upstairs.
I don't
So-
think they want to.
No,
They want
no,
to go. right?
yeah, in and out, so, okay.
So
Is the fire marshal okay with the travel width of the parking lot?
Yes, I believe so. We reviewed it with him and he can have, we got 26 feet.
Okay.
So,
And I know it doesn't happen often, but what happens when you get a delivery, when you get a loading van, a furniture van?
Where's the elevator? Oh, okay. Yeah, where's the elevator? Mr. Rose?
Right,
center of the building.
Oh, right there.
front entrance.
Oh, yeah, there is elevator one.
So people that are moving in have to come in through either of the lobby to get to the elevator to bring their stuff up?
Correct.
That's correct.
Because there's only one
That's how it's done
elevator,
in
right?
all- that's how it's done in all these buildings.
Yeah.
There isn't access on either end of the building, it's only in the center. Both sides.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Rose, when the applicant referred to the front of the building, the back of the building, the treatment of the exterior is going to be the same on both sides, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just north and south, more than front and back.
Okay. Okay.
So you lost 10 units? Is that what you lost?
We decreased 10 units.
And how did that change your ratio of apartments?
So we have, now we're proposing 16 two-bedrooms, which we've always had. I don't know if I'm gonna exactly remember this, but now we have 22 one-bedrooms and 14 studios. That's what we're proposing now. And before we had 62 units.
What else do you want to share with us?
6, 8, 12.
Just to reiterate again what Alan was saying, that we took into consideration when I asked Tony,
Mhm.
when he referenced it was too dense, it was too dense and too intense, the building. And that's when we shrunk the building down, lowered the height. And by shrinking the building down to 185 feet, taking the 24 feet off, that is the distance we were able to create that Tony asked for from Huntington Street with the building being set back from off the road from Huntington Street, we're back about 60 feet.
Mhm.
How much shorter is the building?
We shortened the building 24 feet, Tony.
24 feet?
Length, yeah, length.
Yeah,
The length, not
the
the height.
length, the length.
It's about 8 feet lower without the parking underneath.
Correct. right.
Yeah, yes.
I,
And
I
we're-
circled the number of units are on the site plan, so I shifted over to there in case you,
16
it has the
two-bedrooms,
number of proportions.
bedrooms and 14 studio.
Mhm. Where's the garbage pickup? How's that working again?
We have a garbage pickup.
Refuse
that's-
room with a chute, with a chute.
Shoot from each hallway?
Yes.
Correct.
So there's a
I'm sorry.
garbage on
I
floor.
missed the beginning of that. How is the rubbish being handled?
You have a refuse room, you have a chute on each floor, which goes down to the ground floor to the refuse room. Chute's right here, this end of the building. And then you go to the next floor plan down,
Next one down,
Yeah, the first floor.
first floor, go down to the first floor. And you have, oh, there you go, you were there. You have a refuse room right here, opposite this stairway,
Right.
Each
where-
directly the outside.
right here.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Took them over here.
Oh, yeah, that's where the loading slot outside is.
Right, correct.
Yeah. Yep, got it.
What is the frequency of pickup normally?
Pat, can you answer that?
Yeah,
For refuse.
usually it's a couple times a week. I mean, and it's something
times.
that gets worked out, you know, when they see what type of volume that is coming
Mhm.
down and being
And-
used.
About, is it any time of the day that they're liable to come, or is it? Well, I know you don't want to come early in the morning because you disturb your people.
Yeah, every place has its own time it wants you to come, right? Then when you're in a residential setting, you want it to come in the middle of the day. So bother the least amount of people to be the least amount of people home, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the middle of the day. Some places you only want to come 6 o'clock in the morning, you know?
Yeah, I was just wondering if the ability to get double duty out of the access way for other purposes, like
Oh,
truck deliveries and things.
Yeah, I certainly think that striped off area could be used for a truck delivery that's dropping off a package. He's there for 5-10 minutes at the most, you know?
So that trash chute is recessed into someone's apartment?
No, that's,
It
its own-
takes up some space from that apartment, but it's not in the apartment.
Right, I mean, there's a wall there, but.
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
other than that,
well, there's
It's gonna cut it down.
there's sound system. Yeah, but we'll create sound system barriers in those walls. Same around the elevators and.
It's not a
The-
dumbway system where you're gonna hear.
No, it's a
The-
chute. It's truly a chute.
It's a shoot. Yeah, these are very popular and there's been no reports of any tenants shooting the other tenant for putting garbage down.
Okay.
There's no recycling.
Would it not have been better to put the refuse room down where the sprinkler and electric rooms are?
It,
It doesn't work
suppose it
space
it
wise.
could go down there possibly if we can reconfigure that, but you know,
Back to the hall.
It's just that, you've got it sandwiched in between a 2-bedroom and a studio. And I'm sure there's
No.
gonna be some noise that escapes that little room.
Well,
right.
Usually a metal
isn't
sheet.
there,
Yeah,
There-
that's door.
yeah,
In the bone.
It'd be harder to pick up from there, maybe.
Well, that's a couple units over in a floor plan. So if you go up, what's narrows it? Yeah. Yeah, you still would have. This part.
Where is it dumping here?
Okay, where are you? What floor? That's
It's
first
first.
floor.
Yeah.
Here's the sprinkler.
Yeah.
That's what Tony's saying.
Right.
So if you follow it up, it would be here for assessment to some apartments.
But where does it land now?
Over there. It's, the chute is part one. Someone's off there.
Says refuse.
Okay, so they have to travel to pick it up, whoever
Yeah, one way or the
is
other.
picking it up, so it wouldn't be any different.
No,
No.
okay. Any further questions?
Would like to, respond in writing to the town engineer comments. I spoke to it last time, but I just want to put my written comments.
Yeah, what's the date of that letter?
It would be today, January.
Oh, okay.
18th. Oh, the letter, Remis's letter?
Yeah,
November 16th.
Okay.
So I just want to get it in writing, you know.
Mhm.
And I got it.
you want to read that into the record?
Yeah, I'll. Want me to quickly go down through?
Yes, yeah.
The town engineer, said there wasn't a stormwater management report, which is true, because it's just a conceptual plan.
Mm-hmm,
We do that in the detailed plan.
mm-hmm,
Also the galleries, doesn't have the inverts on them, which is true. We do that for the detailed plan. We do show the galleries on the overall plan and the amount for them, for the 2-inch rainstorm that's required.
mm-hmm.
The sight lines, I gave you a copy of the sightline map. This is basically the driveways in between where we had for the gas station, so it's the same sightline layout. A minimum of 500 square feet, 500 feet.
Mhm.
So I just verified, just to clarify that's the same.
So it's the area you're
The-
exiting and entering.
Yeah, we still have that required site.
Yeah.
We have more than enough sightlines.
Okay.
Sightlines not a problem there. The utility connections, we show the water, sewer and drainage. The gas and the electric are normally worked out once the detailed plans. It's hard to get the utility companies to talk to you if you have actual,
Mhm.
you know.
You're gonna have gas heater?
And most likely, the building's gonna be all electric.
All that.
Yeah.
So the electric location has
Gas
been worked out.
Gas is a couple thousand feet down the road right now, and
Mm.
we can talk to the gas company when it comes time, but right now it's quite a distance.
Mm.
And you can't really talk to them until you're ready.
Did I understand you to say that the south elevation of the building is the main entry?
The north,
Pardon?
now it's the north.
On the side facing Residence Inn.
Correct.
When we switched the driveway, Tony, we.
Oh, that's the north side, okay.
So
Well,
number
if that's-
5,
If that's on the north side, maybe putting the, well, I'm confused. If you look at your floor plan, when you showed the entryway, what I thought was the main entry and lobby, the big lobby, is that the front door or the back door?
This is the front door, Tony.
That's
The
the
front
front
door.
door. That's,
Yeah.
and that's the north side?
North. Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the front door. Here's the mail.
Well, if that's the case, then wouldn't it be better to try to take the refuse store and stuff, and put them off the backside of the building? So that visitors and stuff don't have to be looking at that? In other words,
What would the visitors be looking at?
It's a
all
closed
right,
door.
all right.
The closed door. Let me pull up the rendering. I don't know if it shows in the rendering packet.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you can see the door for the refuse.
Oh, is it in the first one?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can see it on the right-hand
The door
side
for the
there.
refuse over
Right
here.
there.
Yeah.
Like a big garage door.
Yeah,
Mhm. It's an overhead door.
Yeah.
Okay, can you go back to the site plan then? Now that we've
Side plan?
nailed, yeah, back, okay.
Tony,
Yes,
Mr. Panico, would you just mind holding that thought for a minute? There's just 2 last things on Mr. Shepherd's response to Mr. Remus. Can we just finish that and then
Yeah.
we'll go back to the refuge?
oh, sure, I'm sorry.
Not at all. So number five,
I-
no comment. What was his concern?
You know, he had a question about whether Trumbull's been notified. I'm not sure about that.
He had a comment about what?
Has Trumbull been notified?
Oh, Trumbull.
Yeah.
Okay.
Regarding what?
The application. I don't, that's.
Like their sewer
Because-
authority? Who?
No, it's that so many feet with, from the proper, from the boundary, town line. Yeah,
So I'm not sure about that.
yeah,
That's-
staff would pursue that. Okay,
That's a staff thing. And then the soil erosion control plan, we develop when we do the detail plan. So we
Okay.
don't know. That's it. So
Okay.
it's pretty straightforward, but I just want to respond to that.
all right, so, Mr. Panico, going back to the, garbage pickup in the refuse room. So you have you saw the elevation? And, does the applicant feel that there could be some modifications made to address Mr. Panico's concern, or you'll look into that?
We can look into it. Pat can probably comment on that now.
I mean, I believe that the reason that we put the refuse in that location is as a straight shot to the refuse room, up the driveway, you pull in, pick up, back out and go straight out. So you don't have to circulate around the building.
All right.
All right, so this is a more direct route to the pickup point.
And I think it can be, disguised to be aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't need to be just a crummy garage door. It could be something residential looking.
But it's underneath the second floor.
Correct.
Unit,
Correct,
right? The
correct.
second unit is
Yeah.
sitting right on top of that entryway where a garbage truck is gonna be coming in to collect garbage.
Yeah,
Aesthetically.
me being in
Well,
the rough-
that's a more aesthetically pleasing side. At least you got a little bit of planting up against the building. On
Right.
the other side, you got the sidewalk slapped up against the building.
we can make that a soundproof room as well.
I'd make it an office or
Yeah.
something, make it an apartment, my goodness.
Well, the apartment's floor has to be rated at 50 STC and ICC. So I mean, the code takes that into account for transmission of sound.
Yeah. There,
Still with
these
the
are very
degree-
popular and there's been no issues with any of them. These are
what's
very,
with the-
very popular for tenants.
What, garbage chutes?
Garbage chutes, yeah.
Yeah, well, I know
don't
they're
have to
popular,
screw
but
it
not
down.
necessarily on top of an apartment. That's what I'm
Well,
asking.
they're gonna be underneath something, within the framework of the building. I mean, that, they have to be underneath something. They're usually on the bottom floor. Sometimes if there's parking it'll be down underneath there. But I think, like Pat said, there are requirements because of what's below it. Code has requirements as to what the above is.
You may just want to consider putting the WeWork space on that first floor over there instead of,
On the second floor, you mean,
yeah,
above,
just, yeah.
Mhm.
and moving
Yeah,
it
just a
from the
little
first
switch.
floor to the
I
second
think,
floor?
I think if somebody moves in there, they're gonna be looking to move out as soon as possible.
Yeah, just revisit that whole
Okay,
layout.
Into lower turnover.
or we can look into soundproofing systems as well, I have an extensive drywall background with.
You know, part of it
soundproofing.
too is when the garbage truck comes and hearing that out right outside your unit, if you're, that kind of thing. So just revisit the
Yeah.
refuse room location.
We'll look at it.
Okay. Mr. Panico, do you have any other comments, questions, or concerns for the
No, I
applicant?
was just inquiring about what the width of the green space is on the south side between the parking and the adjacent property line. Over here, what is that, about 10, 15 feet?
That's about over 10 feet. That's over 10.
10 feet. I didn't know whether we could shift things over a little bit and try to get a little bit of a green space against the building, but I guess there's not enough room there.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I choked that down a little bit more, so I kind of left the 10 space there to make it nice.
What is the width of that sidewalk, Al?
It's 5 feet,
On what is it?
5 feet. I'm pretty
Right
sure.
there,
it's
yeah.
five. Yeah,
What is it?
5 feet.
5 feet. See that? 5 feet. If a car backs in, you're gonna block off 3 of those 5 feet.
Well, we can we can do that with bumper blocks or whatever. I mean, I think,
No bumper blocks, please.
okay, we won't do that.
What's,
So-
Al, I don't have all the dimensions on what I'm looking at, but you dimensioned the 26 feet. What is the dimension from there to the curb? Against, near the building, towards the building?
Where were you asking for, Tony?
Parking space there.
Give me the dimension, extend that 26-foot dimension line and tell me what the dimensions are to the building, to the parking. What's that?
Oh,
Right
that's 20 feet.
20?
foot. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, so
and
that's.
it's 20 on the other side too?
Yes. Yes,
So you got 66 feet of pavement?
yes, so it's generous.
No, what I'm saying, you have 66 feet of pavement then, is that right?
Yes,
Well, if you have 66 feet of pavement, you can steal 2 feet of pavement and make that sidewalk larger
yes,
to account for the overhang of the car.
yes,
If the car has the ability to overhang, then 18 feet depth is enough.
yes, and we can do that.
Will the car be able to overhang the curb on the opposite side
Yes.
towards Huntington
Yeah,
Point?
because I got 20 feet there also.
That's 20 feet and you have the ability to overhang the curb?
Yeah,
All right.
How about on
Well,
the two short?
And you can steal 2 feet there and 2 feet on the other side, and you can play around with that a little bit.
yes, I did. For the conceptual, I didn't squeeze it down too much, but I have that room to do that.
Yeah,
How about
Yeah,
on the
that's
two
a little
short?
generous for the conceptual.
How about on the two short sides of the building?
we can talk about that some more.
Yes, we can talk about that a little bit more, yeah.
All right, what else do you have, Mr. Panico?
As of right now, that's it, but I have not gone through these with a fine tooth comb.
Hmm? Okay, any commissioners have
And
any?
these are detailed development plans, correct?
No, these
No.
are conceptual.
These are initial concept plans.
Oh, these are initial, all right, so we're talking,
Concept.
okay.
Right, so I made them generous, Tony, so we have.
So
some
what you're requesting is approval of modified initial concept plans.
Correct.
Correct. And amended statement of uses and standards.
Yes.
One thing I would like to reiterate downtown Schenectady is that, and we went into this the last time, but I just want to point it out again, that this project is very well located for, especially for those interested in public transportation, because, we're proposing a bus canopy in the area, the bus route for Greater Bridgeport Transit comes along here. And from here, with the use of Greater Bridgeport Transit, you can access the Bridgeport train station or the Derby train station very easily. So those people who do want to get an apartment where they can rely on public transportation to go to, whether it's working in Cintos Towers, whether it's working in Bridgeport, whether it's working in New Haven, down the line towards Southern Fairfield County. This provides that opportunity for anybody with the, and that's why we're proposing a bus canopy here. We pointed that out last time, and I think that's an important consideration for this change from the gas station to the apartments.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Ticky, that's a great point about the transit-oriented development. How many units are affordable in this proposal?
The 10%.
Yeah, that was
Yes. we agreed
mentioned
to-
in a previous meeting, so,
We agreed to the 10%.
yep, okay. So any other comments, questions, or concerns from the commission before we go to the public portion or from Mr. Panico?
No, I have it. As long as we're at the modification of concept plans and whatever we come up with, we can stipulate it and they'll deal it with it on detail plans.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, before we go in the public portion, I'll just acknowledge the letter that came in today, dated January 11th from John and Barbara Storvik on Windflower Lane in Shelton. We're writing to provide our opinion regarding the proposals at the current Langake's Florist property in Shelton. We attended a Zoom zoning meeting in 2022 in which an apartment complex was proposed for the property. We understand originally a gas station / shop was proposed for the site, and we want to voice our opposition to the latter. An apartment complex seems a better utilization of the space on already congested Bridgeport Avenue. All right, so we'll start with anyone here present in the room. And we have one person that signed up, so Paula Dressel, why don't you come on up to, if one of you guys can shift over?
Yeah.
So that, I'm not sure how close it's gonna be. So just identify yourself for the record.
Hi, I'm Paula Dressel, and I'm at 586 Huntington Street. And my land abuts, my property abuts the Langanke site. And I did write a letter, but I thought it was important enough to come here. I am a retired nurse. And first of all, I think that just the health versus of a gas station versus an apartment is much, much cleaner, safer for myself, my family, my grands, and my great-granddaughter, who now comes and stays with us often. So as a realtor also, it's my property value is going to go down the tubes if it's a gas station, I believe. My quiet enjoyment, and I just think that I'm in favor of the apartments. As a realtor, the rental units are now at a premium. We can't find rents for anybody in Milford, where my office is. It's and anybody working in Lower Fairfield County, New York, New Haven, anything would benefit. And I'm new here, I've only been here a year, but I'm like at the beginning. You have a pretty office building on the corner. That's the beginning of the residential part of Shelton. A gas station would just be an eyesore. At least the Marriott is behind trees. It's residential looking. Huntington Street, the gas station would enter and exit there. You can't get on Huntington Street very, very easily now without that kind of a property being put there. So to have, you go into Trumbull and it's all residents. You come into Shelton and it's at least a pretty office building, and Langanke's, which is a florist, which has been there forever. So it looks like it's part of the scenery, but an apartment complex that's pretty is going to be much better value as you enter the town of Shelton. And then you're entering all of the premium, beautiful water company land, everything, instead of a gas station, which involves all kinds of things and increased noise, traffic, crime, pollution, danger with fumes and fire and all kinds of things. And I would like the apartment building.
Very good.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here in the room that would like to comment on this particular application? Hey, Ms. Castro, is there anyone from the public participating through Zoom or phone? Okay, if there is anyone participating remotely that would like to comment on this particular application, you need to use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9. Okay, so seeing that there is none, we'll move on. Any response from the applicant to the comments presented at the public portion?
No.
No. Okay. right.
Just a minute, it would be next, this is Attorney Thomas, it would be really crazy for me to say anything after the comments from the neighbor. I would close with those comments.
Okay. All right. So any further questions from the commission or for Mr. Panico for the applicant?
No, not at this time. I feel since more comfortable since we're at the concept plan stage and not the detailed plan stage.
Right. Okay. All right. So I'll ask, is there anyone on the commission that would like to make a motion to either continue or close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Laskos.
Go ahead, Peter.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner Laskos. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Amato has seconded. Any discussion? So on the motion to close the public hearing made by Commissioner Laskos and seconded by Commissioner Amato, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins? Aye. Commissioner Laskos?
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky?
Aye.
Commissioner Amato?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 5-0. Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
This item will be on the agenda of an upcoming meeting for discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving along. Third item on the agenda is application 22-25, Cedar Village at the Locks, 281 Canal Street, LLC. At 281 Canal Street, Assessors Map 139, lots 3 and 4, for a major modification of PDD number 60, with detailed development plans on 1.92 acres for 129 apartments, 1,745 square feet of retail, and 192 parking spaces. The public hearing for this application opened November 30th. Staff indicated at the opening that a revised statement of use standards had been submitted to indicate that the Canal Street area is part of PDD number 60. And after the proposal was reviewed, the public hearing was continued. So, Ms. Castro, is there any other reports, material, or correspondence received since November 16th within the time period that we need to acknowledge for the record?
I want to see that. So this is one of the first we're presenting it in our Google Drive.
Yeah, I just noticed that. It's just gonna come in.
Yeah. So we just have what was put on the Google Drive?
Yes, which is all the files that have ever been submitted.
Okay.
I have dated an engineering report from January 4th. And site plans that are dated from November, updated on January 10th of this year.
So the engineering report seems to be the.
From November 3rd.
Yeah, I have the revised statement, uses and standards.
From November 22nd, yes.
There's one from revision proposed November 30th. And. So that's the original one. And we have. What is it? Okay, so, one thing that I was wondering about was the elevation that I had requested been prepared, Mr. Stanzel,
Yes,
from the river.
yes, I'm gonna let Pat,
All right, so why don't you start off with identify yourself for the record?
Don Stanziel,
Mhm.
owner of Cedar Village Development and Midland Development,
Mhm.
42 Lazy Brook Road, Shelton.
Okay, so are you going to go over the material or?
I'm gonna let Pat, he put it up on the screen and he can explain it. If there's other questions regarding other things, I'll fill in.
This is not easy to.
Everybody see my screen?
That's the list, because otherwise you get.
Well, I have a list right here.
Coming in, see, that's what we're more used to seeing when it was on the city
Yeah, but you
website.
still can only like get one at a time,
Yes.
and then you gotta close out and come back in.
On the desktop, mine was a number of them.
Yeah, but still, like if I go to click on this, right, to open it up. Or not. All right, like, you can't, like, oh, you can,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right, got it, okay, thank you. All right, here it is.
Okay, Mr. Rose, are you going to?
Yeah, can everybody see my screen that's been shared? That is the rendering from the Derby shore, the Housatonic River looking across to the development on Canal Street. You can see the wall which wraps around that section of the Canal Street at the end. Pedestrian walkway and a fence at the top of that. And then the building behind that, there's parking underneath and some parking on the edge over here. So that's the parking underneath, and then there's 4 stories above And in this corner is where we have a community room and a covered deck as an amenity to the development.
Good, okay. And the canal, the locks are off
The locks are off to the right. We didn't show them just because it's not the easiest thing to show.
Right, just for perspective.
Yes, yes. But you can see in the back corner here, there's a retaining wall that is up at the Canal Street height, because this retail piece here is at Canal Street. So you're down a full level where you're at the back of the building. And the parking is. That gives you a little more
Is that
perspective.
And like for people that are just walking along the river walk, that they could access that,
The bottom parking?
yeah.
No. Because there's gonna be ramps, correct, Pat, walking up from the lower level to yeah, that'll be better.
This is the site plan, and that's this edge is what we were looking at. With this walkway that runs all the way around to a ramp system that gets you up to Canal Street. The real question becomes is, you know, how do we separate this pedestrian walkway from our private development? Some of it's being done with guardrails because there's a change in elevation to some degree. But I think you're going to end up with some type of fencing on the interior also to separate the pedestrian from going into this development.
Because we want to leave that pedestrian walkway to get up top for people, you know, to at the end of the locks. We would love to put it, you know, Pat's got trees set over there. I'd like to have a picnic area. You know, people, that area, we would love to separate a little bit of an area over that corner so people can enjoy that, because the road really.
So it just, we've completed the site plans for the initial development plans. And what we've done, you know, this shows the entrance of the ramp that goes down to the parking spaces below. And then there's parking behind. And then you funnel through underneath this spaces even to other parking that's on this side.
All right, my question, Mr. Rose, is so someone who is walking on the Riverwalk from the Marion and they get to this point, for them to get to the retail space, they would have to continue all the way to where the blocks are, hit Canal Street. There's no means for them or need them to go through the parking garage and whatever. That is going to be segregated by some kind of fencing.
Yes.
Correct. There'd be fencing and they'd have to come around because the retail spaces in this location here, you know, it's way at the end of the building. So it's either you're walking around this way or, you know, even if you did that, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, really.
Is there going to be some access on the property line as we look at the layout to the right side where you hit the gray parking and then you go towards Canal Street and there's that green area? Is that all going to, is there going to be any access that way from the Riverwalk? That's the next lot.
No.
Right.
That's the next lot.
No.
You don't. Go ahead. I mean,
That would be.
I don't think you'd want to see that. That would be, you don't want people now, you know, we want to, that Riverwalk hopefully is going to be connected.
Right.
So they shouldn't have to come up that way. So the fencing would go right to the property line.
That particular piece of property to the right, is that the Star Pit?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I mention it because a good couple of years ago, on the other side of Star Pin, closer to Marion, for instance,
Right.
there was a sidewalk designed to, I think, where you would come right across the street. And that continued on, so.
I mean, with it being at the end, you'll be able to get out in the end. Why would you have to? It would make sense to be more towards the. Yeah, I would think.
Brought to mind as to.
Absolutely. On the other side. Right.
Well, I wouldn't want to see fence hoppers.
No,
You
you know what,
that kind of
that's
thing.
why I think,
Be an elevation change for that to happen.
right, and I think we wanna keep, we are gonna put fencing in like you,
Mhm.
Chairman, you know, you recommended last time, we'll put fencing in the areas that under the building and keep it more private. We will again reiterate that we will have cameras all over, but we will put fence, you know, gates, everything there.
Okay, and looking at the rendering from the water, the river, where the couple standing there and he's got a blue shirt on, behind
Yep.
them, what is that underneath? Is that the entrance to a residential level?
No, that's the parking level. That's the lower level underneath the residential.
Okay. So that's the
What
park,
those people are standing on the lower level, the lowest level of the site, which is
Yep.
approximately elevation 16, 17, where the
Uh-huh.
first floor is up at 29, 30.
Can they walk right into the parking level?
What we're gonna end up doing is putting a fence on the inside of the pedestrian walkway.
Or between the columns supporting?
Yeah, we've looked at that. In some places there's an opportunity to do that, but also there's also cars, coming
Yeah.
out of some of those areas that are aisleways for cars. So it's not completely foolproof.
Okay, we need to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Tony,
While
fence-
we're at this level, can we go back to the site plan?
Yes.
And let's look at that area where you got that long back and forth ramp.
Yes.
Is it possible to incorporate? Okay, good. Is there enough room, or is it possible to incorporate a set of stairs somewhere in there so that a person that doesn't want to walk that extra length to get up there is willing to climb some stairs?
Yeah, I think there's room
Half
to do
a
that.
flight, a long landing, and then the rest of
Half
it,
a
so it's
flight,
all
yeah.
linear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's room to do that in a single run with a
Yeah.
landing in between.
Right.
What the issue?
Well, I
issue-
don't think I would do it in a single run though, without a land. That'd be a long
No,
flight.
no,
of stairs.
with a landing in between, Tony, with a
Yeah.
landing in between.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is long
Either,
enough.
either
This is long
adjacent
enough.
there or adjacent to the locks, one or the other.
Right, well, what we're doing in this location is this is coming up, right? You're coming up. This
Mhm.
portion of the lock is very high. The wall exists very high, so we're building this into that, and then we're filling this in, so this is
Okay, I got
really
you.
on top, that you
Yeah.
see it from the street.
Okay. So you think that it would be better against the edge of the parking there?
Right,
Yeah.
I think there's enough room to move it over and create that, yes.
Does the commission think that's worth doing?
That's hard to say right now.
Stairs could be troublesome.
I mean, it's risky, Tony, with putting stairs next to, I mean, it's gonna be a good, I mean, if you're putting a ramp, if it's necessary, we would, but the ramp is,
You
I
got-
don't know, that would be a lot easier to get up to the top.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
easy
you're
to
gonna walk
maintain.
30, 60, 90, 120. You're
Yeah,
gonna
but
walk about 150 feet where you can just
That's
climb a
right.
set of stairs.
I know, but what happens in the winter when I have snow on those stairs, and these are gonna be where this is gonna be used by people, anybody, so I would either way, I just wanna.
I know, I just
More
offering
of
it
the
as
greenery
an
for
option.
us.
Yep.
A sitting area, we can look at it, I mean, if it's feasible.
Generally, when you see a long ramp configuration like that, you do have the option of
Stairs.
using stairs.
Yeah,
Well, we did that at Bridge Street for.
Bridge Street,
Louise's.
there's a stair that goes down to the back, yeah.
Yeah.
That's about the similar type stairway, really.
Mhm.
Looking at the rendering again.
Yep.
The two cars that are shown there beneath the green tree, how does that relate to the site plan? That's-
Those cars are sitting in this parking lot.
Okay,
That's why you see them.
in
You
the
got a parking
light
lot at the
gray
lower
area?
level.
that's pretty much at the sidewalk level.
Yeah, pretty
Mhm.
much.
Yeah.
That's why you're seeing those cars.
Uh-huh.
On the bottom left.
Yeah, on the left.
Oh, that's where they're.
Yeah, which goes, you have to go through under the building.
Go through under the building to get out here. It's an aisle right here.
It seemed that they were more in the dark gray area.
Yeah.
That's all tenant parking, right?
Yes.
Yeah, any public spaces or any opportunity for some public spaces down in this area?
Which area?
Down at this end of the walk?
Yeah, that's gonna be all public area. Correct, Pat? Aren't we-
Yeah, I mean, this,
Anybody that might want to drive down there and park to.
well,
to
what
go
we're
down to the
proposing,
walkway.
right, what we're proposing, Tony, and we still have to get, you know, more information from our city engineer, is they're improving Canal Street. You know, I haven't seen their drawings for how they're improving it. I'm proposing that this becomes a hammerhead turnaround and that this eventually becomes a parking lot
Mhm.
for public.
Except that's by others. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah,
is-
we don't
Or is it-
control
or
that
is this by
space.
your applicant?
Yeah, it's not my part of my application. That's why it says future. You know, it's not something that's part of this, but it's something we certainly have been thinking about is necessary.
So any representations you make on numbers of parking spaces do not
Do not
include.
include that.
Okay. Yeah, if we get back to the site plan without pretty
Without the
trees.
color.
Yeah.
So
Along with
this,
the-
this,
along with
this
the
shows how
engineering.
the garage works, that you come in.
I
you
I
come
saw
around.
I saw a note before about some dedication of land or something.
Dedication.
How do you dedicate land if you don't own it? I'm confused because I don't know. And I think you need to clarify, what is the limit of your site, your ownership?
My ownership is
Yes.
the east side of Canal Street.
That frontage
The north
line that
side,
we
north
see
side.
on the water side and going around the back and then returning along those other buildings, right?
Correct.
That's
That's
it. That's all you own.
That's all we own.
And that's what this is going to apply to then.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you know, we have a lot of figuring out to do because under the old when it was adopted, the original concept plan had a concept for this site that's entirely different from what we're dealing with now.
Absolutely.
And it involved other off-site interrelationships. Now it's really not parcel G anymore, or site G, I guess they used to call it. I guess I gotta sit down and figure out how the hell to put it all together.
Right.
Because I see where you put your own statement of uses.
Right.
And how do we do that? There is a statement of uses for the whole darn PDD.
Yeah, that's why I proposed an amendment, but that may not be the right way to approach it. You may
Well,
want-
it might be though.
Yeah, but that's why I showed us changing only 3 things to make it work. Because it's broad enough that it works.
I guess just thinking out loud, I'm wondering if what we should do is shrink the size of the old PDD, keep it there, that PDD 60, and call this its own PDD.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Think about it, Tony. I'm open to either way. You know?
I know you are. I know you are.
I think Commissioner Parkins had a comment about that.
Why couldn't we just amend the PDD?
Well, that's what we are doing theoretically.
Yeah, so why would we have to create a new PDD?
Well, because the statement of uses and standards applicable in the original PDD did not anticipate this particular type of development.
It didn't.
We'd have to be very careful. We'd have to be very, very careful on the amending of that PDD that we do. And if we're going to establish certain standards that are unique to this site, we need to make sure that it's spelled out.
How is it different, Tony? I believe it was mixed use. Is this not mixed use with some sort of retail in the front? Wouldn't that be considered mixed use? Well, what is the difference between what he's proposing here and I know there was more mixed use, but it was still apartments being proposed. The apartments have probably increased overall along Canal Street.
I'm sure the parking ratio that we mandated, so to speak, on this is more generous than the parking ratio for the balance of that PDD.
Yeah, the original PDD going back to the beginning has 2 spaces per apartment. And, you know, we know that that's been changed and altered over a period of time. It also doesn't even mention studios because nobody was building studios when
And
this was done.
that was 15 years ago, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of things have changed between now and then.
Well, I think just the bottom line is it was always intended for residential and mixed use, and we do have that. So, we're just not trying to complicate.
Yeah, whatever
things.
the easier way is, if we have to carve this out and make it, you know, PDD 60A or something.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I have to really sit down with Ruth, and now that we've got pretty definitive material, I'll have to see how best to fit it in and make some suggestions to you.
Right.
Okay, good. All right, do you have any other comments, questions, or concerns for this particular application, Mr. Pianico? Mr. Pianico, do you have any other?
I have not had an opportunity to really look at the architecturals. I've concentrated my review and examination on the site plan materials and the statement of use, and that's why I began to get a little concerned about whether we're approaching this in the right way.
Okay, any commissioners have any comments, questions, or concerns for the applicant?
I think it's a beautiful building.
It is, it's very, very attractive.
Pat, did you review with the commission the exterior materials that you're proposing?
No, right, yeah,
As part of the previous hearing, I did, but I. can
Did
go
we?
through it.
Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't go back and look at my old notes.
Yeah, no, we went through it.
That rooftop area is specific to the tenants, correct?
Yes,
Not open to the public.
correct. And
Where we've got brick in the center section, it runs all the way around.
Remember,
the
we
first
talked about
floor.
that.
We got vinyl siding and then vinyl shakes on top. And fiberglass asphalt shingles on top. With these monitors, vents.
For the same color scheme that you're doing.
yeah, so this is gonna be the same tone, so you know, and all the commissioners, that this is gonna be the same as Cedar Village at Carroll's. I wanna bring this down to the water. I mean, I feel like I love how that came out, and hopefully all you love it as well, but I really wanna bring that down here. We really wanna make a nice project, and I wanna do an open space area down here. I want everybody to start using what is just sitting there. This is not, I know it's a lot, I know it's a big building, it's a lot of units, but I made sure we really pushed to make sure we had extra parking down here. And I wanna put this Riverwalk in. We're gonna do that. I'm not leaving that for the town to do. We're gonna put the Riverwalk in. We're gonna construct it and finish it. We're gonna put everything up in our area to complete that, and I think it'll be a destination, and if we can hopefully get help from whoever else around, like the town or anybody else with that extra parking, we will assist with that too. People should come down here. I mean,
I think you're definitely on the right track. The only thing we have to remember is that Riverwalk is a public walk, and it's there for other reasons other than to serve your people.
Well, I don't think it's gonna serve my people at all. I'm telling you the truth. I think it's gonna serve.
It gives your
everybody
people
else.
the
I want it to serve
opportunity.
everybody else. My people can use it too, but I walk up and down the Riverwalk. I'm always downtown, but Tone, I wanna make sure other people can enjoy it, you know?
Is there any other agency in town that has any say about the Riverwalk? I know it's been a town project.
Yeah.
And at one time, the downtown people had a lot of input. In fact,
Yeah,
they
I
were the ones that implemented most of the balance of it.
Yeah, they've set some standards that we have to follow, obviously,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
in expanding it.
Is there anybody that we should bounce your proposal off of?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying nothing about the Riverwalk, but that I want to put it in. You'll give me the standards, just like we do anything, and this is something unique. I'm gonna pay for it.
Mhm.
So not the town to pay for it, we're gonna pay for it.
I think it was Tate. that,
No, and I admire that. I really do.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And I'm
So I-
appreciative of it.
Well, we wanted to, everybody else is helping out. They're gonna be, that Riverwalk will keep going, but I wanna put it in. I wanna complete it with the project.
Did you finally get clearance to tear that building down where your
Not
ramps
yet.
are?
I have a feeling that maybe depending on, we're really waiting to see how this goes. And yes, we're starting that process as well.
When do you think you would have a decision on that?
Soon, I hope. I'm waiting on the owners to see, we're trying to do something together with that and go to the town and see if we can get this going. So that is in the works. It's very close, Tom.
Yeah, have you taken ownership of the property yet?
Not yet. Until I get
okay.
approvals, I'm not gonna take ownership of the property.
Uh-huh.
This is a lot of work.
You have
involved.
you've got a significant investment in architectural and engineering.
I haven't, well, there's a lot more besides that too. This building is not gonna be easy to take down. So it's a lot of work, this is the first step. If I don't, this first step means everything on the rest.
Well, can you give us some kind of a tentative time frame as to how this project is going to proceed?
Sure, that's perfect. So soon as, if we can get approvals, we will purchase the property and close on it. And at that time, we will start trying to get the funding for the cleanup as well as the financing. So it'll start going right away. I just can't do it until we take ownership to it. Can't take ownership until I get approvals. So it'll all go right in the steps. It's not gonna just sit there.
I guess what I'm leading up to is you worked out a nice solution to get the walkway connected up to the street level, but it does rely on that building not being there.
Oh, absolutely. This whole job does. This whole project, I can't put this.
So if the commission takes a favorable action, which I'm presuming we probably will, what happens if you can't implement it? You got to come back in and bring us a whole new design?
That's a tricky question there. Are you tricking me? No,
No.
this building's gonna come down. This building has to come down. It's structurally, if it doesn't come down soon, it's gonna fall down.
Who is it
If
that
we-
you need to get approval from?
To take it down?
Yeah,
Nothing. I need to,
it's on your property. It would be on your
right,
property.
it'll come down. I just not gonna go through the process, of spending more
If the-
money until I get approvals. It'll come down.
If the commission were to move to a favorable action,
Yes.
when do you think the next step will be? Because we may want to put a timeline in our decision. And I
All
need
right,
some.
well, it's gonna go immediately. I'm
Does
gonna,
the historic, the presence, SHPO have anything to do with this?
yeah.
Yeah,
So that,
so that,
Since
that.
we're bringing, I mean, this needs to be, again, approvals. Condemn the building, take it down, yes,
Okay.
yes, and yes.
So
How's
you
that?
got a battle ahead of you.
Yeah, I do, but as long as I'm not gonna, I can't go ahead with that until I get approvals.
Sure.
I
right,
mean, it's a tricky, listen, I have my neck out, but I feel very certain for this project. I love it. I really think it's something that's been awaiting on this end, and I really want to do it. I want your support, and we want to do it. So we'll do whatever we have to do to get that done.
What about that parking lot that's on the other side of the railroad crossing that there was talk years ago as part of this PDD to put up a possible parking garage? Is that parcel included in the sale of this property or?
Where is that? Across from the,
on the other side of the railroad tracks.
on the other side, on Brook Street, over in
Is
there.
that associated
That's
with
nothing
Stark
that,
and-
no, I don't know who I'm buying this from. I don't know if John Watts owns a part of that. I really don't know.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, John Getz might own a portion of that.
Yeah, like right as you go.
Yeah, I know exactly. I just don't know. It's nothing to do with this.
This,
Lot goes into
I
the
think it's
boys
part of the
club.
Star Pin building, right?
No, it's separate.
Separate.
And I know, I believe John might own a couple pieces around here and he's been great. We've been talking about this, trying to get this worked out together.
Is the son?
John himself. So this gets Primrose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Would you
we're
be
trying
classified
to,
as a contract purchaser?
excuse me, at
Are you classified as a contract purchaser then?
this point, yes.
Okay. I
But I'm
need
looking-
to know when I start writing things up, how I have to treat you. You don't own the property, but you must be a contract purchaser. Otherwise, we want the landowner to sign your applications. You know,
Correct, I get you, but again, this is a very tricky site and this is gonna take a lot. How can I go ahead with B until I get A resolved? So A is getting approvals, and then we were gonna go right into B, and that's getting approved. I mean, again, this is a big project, but I really have a great feeling of it. And with the commercial spaces, those are really losers in the end. That's something we're gonna do ourselves. We wanna offer that, a nice little coffee shop or a little convenience area.
Say loser.
Well, listen.
It's not gonna be a high end like a
No, and I don't,
house, right?
yeah, but that's what I mean. Can I expect somebody to come lease that from us? I don't know. I mean, it's the end. I feel like I would rather do it ourselves and,
Put a wine bar in there.
yeah.
Honest to God,
Well,
put a wine bar. People will come.
That's
The,
a lot.
Yes,
the property owner, the current owner,
yes.
he's supportive of your proposal?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
John Watts has been
If
working hand in hand.
need be, we might want to have a letter or something from him putting his blessing on your application. I don't think you provided one, did you? I don't have all the administrative paperwork in front of me, so I can't tell for sure.
Don, didn't you have him get him to sign when we
Oh, yeah,
initially
he's
submitted?
sure. He
Okay.
signed it.
If he signed the
Honestly,
application, that's enough.
No, yeah, he's signed. He was on this. He's all for it. You
Okay,
can get whatever you want. We've been working together on it. He's been terrific.
So it
okay.
sounds like one of our hurdles is the PDD and how to restructure that. Is that correct, Tony? This
I'm
is
sorry, I
really-
didn't hear.
I think one of the biggest hurdles right now is how to restructure the PDD.
Well, I would like to preserve the structure of the PDD as long as I can figure out a way to sort of isolate this particular site.
Right.
And if we can do it as a series of exceptions to the existing standards in some way that's legal and proper, then we would recommend that.
The original was a bigger area.
It was
Like all
yeah,
Canal
it
Street.
was the whole Canal Street
Oh.
from
Owned
Birmingham.
by old people.
No, it was all, well, there was a couple of owners, but John Watts really owned most.
Oh, I see.
And John Getz was the one that proposed that PDD.
I think
So it was like 500 units of housing and.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I can see where that would be.
This was a site A through H
Yeah.
and all the different things that were gonna go on there.
I mean, it's not insurmountable, it's not, it
Yeah,
can
it's
be
just
done, it's
technical.
just figuring out a way to do it so that it's not.
All right, do any other commissioners have any further questions for the applicant before we go into the public portion? Okay, and I don't believe there's anyone that signed up to address the commission
No, there's nobody on it.
from people who are here in the auditorium. So if there's anyone participating remotely who'd like to comment on this new material, please use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9 on your phone. So, Ms. Castro, anyone from the public? Okay, last call. If there's anyone from the public that'd like to make a comment on this particular application? Please use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9. Okay, so, any further questions from anyone for the applicant? Okay, Mr. Panico, are you good to go?
In general, yes. I
Okay.
might very well have some specific concerns, but nothing of a general nature.
Thank you. All right, so is there any commissioner that would like to make a motion to continue or close the public hearing?
Well, don't we have to continue it because we don't know what we're doing with the PDD?
That's very good thought.
Right? I mean, how can we discuss that if the
Yeah.
hearing's closed?
Mr. Panico, do you agree on that?
I'm sorry, I was just making the note.
Keep the public hearing open because we are not sure on how the modification of that PDD is going to be addressed. Otherwise, we can't comment on it.
Yeah, that's probably a wise idea.
Okay. All right, seeing that's the case, is there any commissioner who'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing?
I'll make that motion. I don't see any way around it, so I'll make the motion to continue.
Okay.
Public hearing.
For purposes
it-
of ironing out the administrative approach.
Right,
Correct.
yeah.
I don't want the applicant to think he's got to come back and make another presentation.
No.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Ticky will second.
Thank you. So on the motion to continue the public hearing made by Commissioner Parkinson, seconded by Commissioner Ticky, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
I,
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion to continue has been approved by motion, vote rather of 5-0.
Tony, how long do you think it would take to,
Well, if I don't have to jump quickly on anything else, I can do it pretty fast.
Good.
I have the full set of drawings for the site. I don't have the architecturals yet, but I can get those pretty quick.
Okay. Sounds good. All right.
I'll go through it and I'll try to put together the direction I think we ought to take, and then let's have it. I'll have a little discussion with the commission, and if necessary, we'll go. If we need to get more input from the applicant, then we'll get it at that next public hearing. If not, we'll just have it open the hearing for purposes of closing it.
Right, okay. All right, so this item will be on the agenda of an upcoming meeting. And seeing that there is no other items on the agenda, chair declares this evening's meeting is adjourned as of 8:13 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you very much.
Next week.
Good night.
Take care.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.